Yeah, hi. Hello. How are you?
Good morning, San Diego. Yeah. How could you not feel Anchor Manny with the countdown?
Ooh, that would be a good spin-off. Anchor Manny.
Yes, you
It's
know, or
about a male nanny
yeah.
who really wants to pursue his broadcast dreams.
Oh my God, Anchor
Maybe the
Nanny.
family he's working for, like they are connected to the local news organization, and he decides I want to be an anchor Manny. But he's got to
Well,
juggle still taking care of the kids and like getting his auditions to be on the news.
this also, I'm getting Mrs. Doubtfire vibes. It's wait. Actually, I
He
don't even
doesn't
know if
have to dress up. He could just
I
do it as himself.
I know. Yeah, I guess I don't know why. Oh, unless they only were looking for female anchors, which if that's the thing, it's
Oh,
always like a
that's
man
Anchor
and woman.
Nanny. I thought you said Anchor Manny. The Anchor Manny, the Anchor Nanny.
I'm willing to pivot on a dime.
He's the world's greatest man.
One of the first times I was kicking around an idea for a podcast, I was talking to this guy, and he goes, "Oh my God, you've changed it." I was like, I'm just this is me dadding. I'm just going with it,
Hold on.
like
You were doing a podcast with someone else and they expected it to be fully on script and you kind of left the script. Is this what happened?
I don't really remember. This is like 2019, and it was a real fine example of like how you just have to kind of be different. It was a guy who did this is so unusable, but you'd be interested in this too. But there was a show that Travel aired that ended up on Cooking called Trip Testers, and one of the guys, I actually knew. Well, we were like 6 degrees of separation. They were in LA. One of them was a longtime editor at Thriller, so I knew about his work. I ended up meeting them, connecting with them, actually back in South by, which is happening right now, back in 2019. And then I was in LA shooting Best Thing Ever 8, and I met this guy, Jason. We're like, oh, we should do something. Like whatever. Like, they didn't pick up his show. I didn't pick up my show. I don't know. So we were like talking about doing a podcast, and it was about, it was food comedy. It was like stupid food questions. Like, can you peel a pineapple with your hands? And we were like, okay, cool. And in the wrong order of business, we were like, we took calls with like oh God, what is it? Not Acast was a call, and there's one studio, Headgum. We had a call with Headgum. We were doing it the agent way, like, yeah, let's just make it magically happen, like it was a TV show, instead of just going, let's just record this and do it. Meanwhile, while we were like trying to make a deal, trying to make it happen, people are like, yeah, we're just gonna record it like we're doing right now and see what sticks. So but yeah, we were, talking about ideas and stuff like that. And at one point I was like, much like all things comedy, I was like, there should be a food podcast network. And then, I don't know, I was talking to him one day and he goes, you just changed everything. I was like, this is how I dad. I'm just kind of going with the flow. Like, like you're in a wave pool, you just up and down, up and down, Yeah. Probably why I shouldn't be a pilot or a scientist, because there's some plans
Also,
you
you
have to
don't
stick
have a
with.
license to fly a plane, but I don't think that matters anymore now.
Man, the old plane thing. What a weird world we're in. You're like, I'm nervous. Like,
I
yeah,
noticed my wife said when both times when we landed when we went away a few weeks ago, everyone clapped and she's like, "Oh, it's the 90s again." Everyone's like, "Oh, thank God. Okay, we hit the
yeah,
runway and we're
yeah,
slowing down and
yeah.
applause."
Yeah. No, I have not been on a plane since all this stuff lately, and yeah, that's a whole. Yeah, definitely gonna be clapping. It is funny. Like, I also am someone who's like, I'll be flying next week, and if I haven't finished it yet, I'll be binge watching Deli Boys. So hopefully I'll be in a happy place without having to
All
worry
right. Well,
about.
Ollie's going to report back on Deli Boys,
Yeah.
the pun laden new show from who's the star? I don't know.
Asif Ali, I actually casted him in a commercial. I was up for the commercial too, but I was running the camera in the studio, and I remember the casting director's like, "He's gonna get it," and I'm like, "Wait, really?" But Roman loves me. It was a commercial directed by Roman Coppola, Sofia Coppola's brother, and I was like, me and Roman were like this. Just he really dug me. I don't know. He's from cinematic royalty, and I went to private school, so you know what I mean? Amongst the other schlubs who'd run a camera, I was a little bit closer to his vibe.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
Roman's a friend of the show. We'll have
big
him on.
guy.
We'll have him
Great
on.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
really great guy.
Hey, Ollie, let's try something new. We're gonna watch some videos together because that's what dads do, right?
We've really devolved this show. Thanks for watching our podcast where we used to talk about things that maybe matter to you. Now you'll watch us. It's now turned into a reaction channel. Go ahead, Neil.
Well,
Jesus.
look, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's the 8-year anniversary of the BBC Dad. Do you remember the BBC Dad?
No.
See the
Pardon me. My apologies.
What was this going to be for the region?
My apologies. Sorry. South Korea's policy choices on North Korea have been severely limited in the last 6 months to a year.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, you
I've
remember
never
that guy?
seen that. No, this is
You've never seen that?
This is technically news to me. Something 9 years ago.
8 years. It's the 8-year anniversary of BBC Dad. I didn't know I had to do a whole setup for you. I thought everybody knew BBC Dad.
No, but
All
it's
right,
fine.
BBC Dad. It was this whole thing. So there was this guy. Unlike now, where we're in very normal, peaceful, tranquil times geopolitically.
Almost
There was-
boring. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
8 years ago, there was some stuff going on with South Korea and Asia,
Okay.
and
Sure.
I don't know politics, but there was some crazy stuff going on. I remember. The point is that this guy does know politics, and he was in his suit, and he was on BBC, and he was doing commentary, and his kids just walked into the room. He just walked in.
But like, where
And it
was he? Wasn't he in the
adorable.
studio? Wasn't he in the studio or something
No,
like that?
he was at home. He was doing a hit from home.
I mean, to me, the best part was how I assume the mom, but it could be whomever the caregiver was in the doorway, was like on the ground. You know what I mean? Because that to me is really interesting. It's like on the ground parenting. Like you're on all fours. I think there's something very deep there. You see a guy in a suit looking all composed, but as soon as that camera's off, he's probably like, "Oh my God, let me get on my hands and knees and help out," because that's
You would hope. You would hope. I bet
Yeah.
he did. It's funny you say that. I like that you said assume the mom because 8 years ago there was a big controversy over people assuming she was the nanny, not the anchor nanny or the anchor nanny, but the regular nanny. And it was this real Rorschach test for people's biases.
Yeah.
Yes, I took Psych 101 because people were just like, "Hey, why are you assuming she's the nanny because she's an Asian woman and he's a white guy?" Turns out, yes, she is his wife and mother of his children.
It was a pretty quick clip. I couldn't really see a lot of her. She could have been Greek. I don't know. You know what I mean? I couldn't really get a good read on her. It was a fluid situation. I know it's good not to assume anything, everything, so
Sure.
I still have fear of being canceled, even though I think that's almost impossible now.
You need to, in order to get canceled, don't you already need a show?
It's weird. I mean, Tony Hinchcliffe doesn't have a show. If anything, he says crazy stuff and he gets shows. So, I mean,
Sure.
I think look, you don't need to be on a show to essentially fuck up. You know, like you just have to say the wrong thing and it be captured on, well, look, you know, like even on a 2015 MacBook camera, because that's the camera studio I'm dealing with now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's funny you say that, the Rorschach test, Psych 101. I had a friend who, you know, being someone who is a, you know, we're a mixed race family. My wife is white and I'm not, right? And then we have our son he's not white, but he's not all the way the deep dark hue that I am either, you know. He's a little ambiguous. He could be a lot of different things. Kind of like you, Neil. My God. You know, I know it's great. You should have been a spy. But
Are you my dad? Is that
yeah.
like what this podcast is building to?
I mean, now that was a season-ending twist I was hoping for. I can only imagine what paradise holds for me once I finally get through episode 3. But I had a friend also. You know, she's Peruvian. Her husband is actually like Russian from Russia, but you know, he's like, you know, white, blonde-haired, and her kids took on her traits. And she was a friend who lived in LA when we lived in LA, and all the time at playgrounds, people would come up to her and go, "Oh my God, you're so great! Like, can we get your phone number? I think you'd be a great nanny." And she's like, "These are my children."
But also, I am looking for work.
Yeah, but you know, being a graphic designer may not work out. Yeah. So she's like, yeah, they always think I'm the nanny.
Did she ever develop like a good comeback? Did she make people like LA, you know, liberal, you know, clout chasers feel like really uncomfortable?
I mean, I wasn't there. I mean, she seemed to have a pretty good, I don't know, attitude, nature about it. And I think it's interesting too because, you know, he was from Russia, she was from Peru. Like, I think, like, I don't own it that hard, but someone who like myself, who's like, when people would be like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'm like, "St. Louis." You know, like,
but where are you really from, Ollie?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I will ask people that question. So, where are you from? And they're like, Jersey. And I'm like, fair enough. You know what I mean? If you want to get down into a big, deep story, great. If you're happy with Jersey, I'm happy with Jersey, too. But I'll prod a little. I'll be like, you know, kind of like the old Chappelle bit. I'm detecting an accent. You know, just whatever.
Beep, beep, beep,
you know.
beep, beep.
Yeah.
I would get the, where are you from? New Jersey. But where are your parents from? Long Island. Where are their parents from?
Yeah.
Oh, the Bronx.
Yeah.
Where are their parents from? Poland?
Yeah.
Both sides? Yeah. And they're just like...
Yeah. It's crazy. I know. Like, it's like someone in the old days, like, spending all day in the library looking at microfiche, and they're like, Padover, this is it. This is all we got. He's European. At best, Eastern. Like, what a letdown. You know, I was expecting something.
It's no fun. My 23andMe.
A little more. I know.
Very boring.
It just goes to show you, you know. I don't know what it shows you. You know, not everything's. I don't know what any of this is. You know.
I like that you went with the transitional phrase, and then you just had nothing to pay it off, and it just goes to show you, like, you had a lot of time, and you could not deliver.
I know. I held for the beat, and then literally it was like nothing. There's nothing. I literally.
Hey, you want to watch another video?
Yeah.
I got one.
If people want a refund, we're cool with that. Let's go. Let's keep
do it. All right. All right. There's this one. So this mom. So there's this mom who. Well, you'll see for yourself. Like she basically told the kids that she was going to Disney World without.
I didn't want to tell you guys, but I'm actually going to go meet up with Uncle Pat at Disney World. So I'm going on the airport.
She might.
I am.
Yeah. What do you think? We just gotta drop her off. Well, she's dropping her off, man. She'll say bye. Don't worry.
You think she's ever coming back, Ollie?
I mean, look, I know what I'm here for. I feel like I'm watching America's Funniest Home Videos. Keep going.
Why did he do that?
You think she's like leaving the family?
Are you narrating the taller
Kid
one?
is so upset.
I just want to say bye.
Okay. Bye. We love you.
guys.
I mean, he's smiling.
I am, honey. I gotta go.
Wait, you're actually?
Meanwhile, we prep our kids like, I'm going down to the store.
She's got luggage and everything, man.
Hope you're-
No, here
You
comes
okay?
the sadness
Do you need
is
help?
kicking in.
Do you help?
No, I got my bags. I'm all good. All right. I'm gonna go to Disney for a little bit. I'll be back in a week.
Week?
Yeah, just 1 week. Do you want to come with me?
No.
Do you want to come to Disney with me? Do you want to come to Disney with Uncle Pat and Porter and Penelope and Brittany?
Do you guys want to go to
Airport.
Disney World?
Do you want to come? Should we do that or go to Dad's work? Should we go on the
Penelope and
airplane
Brittany.
right now? Or should we go to Dad's work?
Dad, over.
You guys don't want to go to Florida?
That's weird because I have your suitcase.
Say why?
I packed your bag for a week to go to the big mansion house with Uncle Pat. You want to come with me? And
With
Dad?
Porter and Penelope?
All of us. We're all going.
Sure.
Sure. He says sure. All right, buddy, out. Be careful getting out of the
Wow.
car. Go out Maverick's way.
But I thought we were gonna go to Dad's work.
Yeah, you thought so, but we tricked you.
We tricked you.
We're going to Florida, bro.
We're going on the airplane right now. You excited?
Maverick is indifferent.
Maverick, you want to go to Disney?
Wait, the kid's name's Maverick?
No.
I mean, that's ambitious. I think that's ambitious naming.
Okay, well, we're going to Disney World, bro.
Yeah.
I need you guys to get out of the car.
Wow.
All right?
I have a lot to
All
say
right.
about
Do you help,
this.
babe?
No, I'm got it.
I have a lot to say about
No, I
this.
got it. Going.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
Made it
part
into
two.
the-
Okay. Oh, yeah. Hey, now the happiness. Well, you know, that's good.
Yeah.
You ready to go or you still want to go to Dad's work?
I still want to go to Dad's work.
When we come home, you can, okay? I know you've been asking to go for a while.
I have a lot to say about this. I have a
Okay,
lot to
well,
say about
that's
this.
why we're here, Ollie.
Yeah, yeah.
And by the way, we don't even know if they made it to Disney. I mean, they stopped, you know.
I'm going to answer that, and it's going to give you my whole take right now. Oh, they made it. In fact, they made it before they even decided to make the trip. Because here's the thing. There's no judgment here. I'm not going, oh, look at you. You get to go on a vacation trip. But clearly the first thing we need to unpack right now is the fact that the kid, the lead kid, the older kid, Maverick, right? Maverick is just not shocked. He's not incredibly distraught that he's not going to Disney World. And then when he's like, okay, I guess we are going, it's not like, oh my God, all my dreams have come true. He's, in a pretty good disposition for both scenarios. You know why? It's because of the car he's sitting in. He's got a good life. And the funny thing is, he's probably just as intrigued, and the little one was very into it, was like, I wouldn't mind going to Dad's work, because my guess is Dad goes to work a lot to afford things like surprise Disney vacations, and that car, I think it's a Tesla, maybe a Rivian, nice leather, I mean, that weird burgundy mahogany thing. It's not gray or black, Neil. You know what I mean? Like for me, I got the leather and it's black. Not that crazy color. So they're okay. They're okay whether in either scenario. And it is funny. And I'll even throw myself under the bus a little bit because it feels like I'm just judging them because his family is obviously has some means and they probably earned it. That's my theory about the dad, like being at work all the time, and the little one's like, I want to see Dad more. Maybe that's more important than the mansion at Disney. But I will even throw myself under the bus because, well, one time and it worked like a charm. I want to say Heath was 8. We took a trip to San Diego. And we have video. There's video. we did the same damn thing that they did. We basically completely surprised him that we took him to Legoland. Like, we're at the airport, and he's like, yeah, we're going to go on a trip, but it's a surprise. He's like, the first hint, we're going to California. And he goes, oh, we're going to go to LA to visit friends because we live in LA. Then we get to San Diego, and he goes, okay, cool, we're going to, I don't know, go to the beach. And then we have video of him. We are driving up. We are pulling up to Legoland. And he's like, we're going to Legoland. Perfect payoff. It was great.
Yeah, not the same. And here's why, Ollie.
Here it comes.
You're pulling a couple things. They pulled up to the airport. They had one plan. There is a very big difference between, hey, we're going on a trip, but it's a surprise, all right? We're not going to share all the details, but get yourself mentally ready. We're going on a trip. Mm-hmm. We're packing bags. We're going to be on an airplane. We're going somewhere. It's going to be good. You trust us. We're your parents. Versus, yeah, we're going to Dad's office.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we're at the airport. Oh, wait, Mom's going somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mom's going to Disney without you. All righty. Yeah. All right, see ya. Wait, what? Are you?
Yeah.
Well, would you want to go? Yeah, I mean, sure, I get, but I thought we were going to... All right, tell them we're all going. They're like, what is happening? I mean, they had planned this for, what do you think, weeks, months? Like, all right, here's what we're going to do, babe. We're not even going to, we're just going to show up.
Definitely 2 months, at least minimum 2 months, minimum.
I mean, there is, and then they're shocked that their kids are confused. I think really, it's like a communication issue.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll just say this, like, you could almost, and I've delivered a few practical jokes in my day that have not landed well. I have been there, been on the other side of it. But, you could go back to the drawing board. We got the drawing board. We're writing it all out. And it's like, okay, step 1, it's a boring day. Step 2, Mom's abandoning the family suddenly. And then step 3 is, just kidding. Hey, maybe I'm not. Do you want to come with me? Like, I'm dangling it in front of you, like dangling food to a dog that's in need. And then it's like, just kidding. We're all going. Like, and then he's like, get out of the car. Then he's like, it's a real, So I think it was just, and it was all pretty much happening in the car. So, there's definitely a lot of like, I would strongly recommend anyone who's considering to do the surprise trip to do 2 things. 1, follow our video. I'll send this video. You can do your editing magic thing because it worked well. But I will tell you this, cut to 2023, we tried to pull the same thing at Universal Studios, and it didn't work out well. Like, he was
this twice, Ollie?
Yeah, we did. And it did not work out. I mean, the trip ended up being fun. We had a blast. But the surprise part didn't work. We literally thought it would just be like, oh, just like what happened in 2019. And it simply didn't unfold that way. Heath was old enough to be like, okay. Like, he'd rather know. He'd rather be in the know than be like, surprise. Hey, there's no food in the fridge. What are we going to do? Surprise!
It's like not everything is an episode of The Bachelor. We're like, hey, I've got this helicopter waiting for us, and we're gonna go fly over the Rocky Mountains, and then we're gonna go have a picnic at the base of it, and then we're gonna go to this volcano, and then Dave Matthews Band is gonna be there waiting for us and playing "Crash Into Me" while I dance with you, and then I'm gonna go see Jen P. Because I'm still deciding between the two of you.
Did you just spitball all that? Because I think the helicopter and having Dave Matthews, I think that's
a lot of reality TV. But just tell your kids you're going to Disney. Stop it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big thing too is, much like reality TV, the format may have peaked already. And so, maybe surprising your kid is, there's a moment where it's peaked and then you got to read the room. I'm going to say this. For those folks, for those parents, don't try and pull that. I mean, if they weren't buying it at that age, don't do it when they're 10. Don't do it when they're 11. If anything, they'll be like, oh, ha 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 ha, they were so funny. They're like, the joke was mom's going to abandon us, you know? I don't know. I don't think she sold
let me
it.
ask you one more question. You're in a hiring position in this hypothetical.
Cool.
Maybe you're working at Price Waterhouse Cooper. 2 resumes slide on your desk. One,
I was thinking a startup, but fine.
Corey
Okay.
Jones, went to a good school. He's got an accounting degree.
Yeah.
Seems like an analytical person.
Yeah.
The other one, Maverick.
I mean,
I don't even know if he graduated, but you
Yeah.
got a resume on your desk for this big accounting firm. You going with Maverick or Corey?
I mean, look, let's be honest. Like, you're going to have to talk to both of them. You don't want to make a knee-jerk decision. But if it's close, it's going to go to Maverick. You know what I mean? Like, that is the edge. That's the edge. If anything, if there's one thing those parents did, is give him the edge in a close hiring situation at an accounting firm when it's neck and neck and you're literally going, I like them both, but Maverick, the only scenario where I think that name wouldn't work is he ends up becoming a lackluster commercial airline pilot. And, people are like, oh, here comes Maverick. Woo, you can't, you know what I mean? Like that, because then that's a scenario where your name is carrying a real degree of pressure in an already high pressure situation. And I'm also assuming a couple things like he's a pilot who has a fear of flying, or he's just maybe wanted to get into music, but being a commercial airline pilot was just kind of the safer choice because of a series of circumstances that probably started off with him going to this surprise Disneyland or World trip. I think it was World because it was in Florida.
Yeah,
So
it totally turned him off to commercial.
there's a lot to unpack. That was an excellent video. I didn't know how this would turn out. I think this is exactly what we can do is go from a pure support mechanism to judging parents, because that is what we have done and are doing. But I'm intrigued by it.
Listen, people just want to know how you feel about it. You're the world's greatest dad. And everybody wants to know
I know
how Ollie feels about other parenting decisions. And speaking of which, your fans, they're writing in. They've got questions.
Great.
Let's get to some questions.
Oh man, this is great! What a great day!
This is from Matt in Rhode Island.
It's such a letdown after hearing Maverick.
Yeah,
I mean,
not Matt.
I have a good friend named Matt, so don't take that the wrong way, Matt. But I just came off Maverick. Like
He just came off Maverick. All right, Matt from Rhode Island writes, hey, Ollie, my wife's been complaining she has done the bulk of creating our social life in our town. I see where she's coming from. Since we're always invited to every birthday party and holiday celebration, we always have a blast. But we both work full-time, and she's been urging me to pick up some of the slack and make other dad friends too. So she's not the only one keeping our relationships afloat. I got invited to a weekly dad's poker game. I love poker, so I've been going the last few months. The problem is I'm very, very good at poker. And these dads are very casual players. Some don't even know the rules of the game. So I've been cleaning them out pretty much every time. It became a running joke, but now I can tell the other dads don't really want me there. I can't just stop showing up because that will let my wife down. I've tried bringing extra beers and snacks for everybody to offset my inevitable winnings, but the guys are still annoyed at how aggressively I play the game. Should I back off and play poorly just to get along? Will that piss them off in a different way? It's poker, for God's sakes. Isn't the whole point to win the game? Love your advice, Ollie. Thanks.
This is clearly one of the more unique scenarios. And of course, I'm thinking about Rounders, which ended up kind of not ideal. Matt Damon lost a friend. Him and Ed Norton they weren't pals anymore. Took a couple bruises. Yeah, he did beat John Malkovich, and that was worth it. That was definitely worth it. So, you gotta ask yourself this. Like, do you want to stare down a guy and possibly get hit? like Matt Damon had to do in Rounders. Like, look, okay, couple things here. One is the objective isn't to lift money off these guys. You're obviously very good at poker. It's to hang out. You don't want to, maybe intentionally lose, although it probably wouldn't hurt your cause. But no one ever said you had to bet high, and no one said, oh, you know what, I gotta fold. I just pick your little battles a little bit, and it's weird. It's like, obviously, I think these guys are pretty good at poker too, because they seem to keep playing you, thinking maybe you're gonna beat them. But yeah, just think about that bigger picture. And look, no one likes who likes it when somebody runs up a score? That's just not classy. So let's find a way, Matt, to keep things a little bit classier. Maybe no reason to like throw in too many chips in the pot. Be a little more conservative on the bet. And yeah, maybe kind of go, hey, maybe you miss a game or two. Maybe you're like, oh, I got a thing, it's come up. That way, you made some great inroads. And maybe there's an opportunity where you can be like, you guys want to go to Vegas? And maybe your wife will be really happy with that. And then you can go take your skills to the house and really put the hurt on the people who deserve it. The corporations who run Vegas. So that's my advice. Just you know what? Learn to duck. Learn to duck every once in a while. Maybe ride the brake a little bit. No one ever said you had to go the speed limit. You can always keep it about 5 under. You won't get pulled over by the cops.
Is that true? How low can you go below the speed limit? Because they never have a minimum.
I had a friend of mine, and this is a long time ago, and it wasn't me, so I don't mind talking about what he was doing. This is when the Prius had pretty much was still pretty new, a couple years out. And, it was a Saturday night, so you could imagine he had, had some drinks and whatnot, and maybe, smoked something else. And he was driving on this road, and he was so paranoid. He eventually got near my apartment, and then he just knocks on my door. He goes, dude, I was being followed by the cops, and I just got paranoid. Can I just crash on your couch? I'm like, okay, fine. And then it turns out the next day he gets in his car, it was set to kilometers. So the whole time he thought he was, driving the limit, and he was driving really slow. So apparently not that slow. But yeah, I think you can get pulled over. I mean, first of all, we're in the age of Uber and ride share, so let's be responsible. Throw that out there, that message too. But yes, I think you go at 5 under is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Leave 5 minutes earlier, it's not a problem. There you
Leave
go.
a little room for the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
Leave a little. How many car lengths do you leave in front of you?
I mean, the rule. The rule
I know
is
the
you're
rule.
supposed to be
I know
able
the
to
rule.
see
I'm asking you.
the
What do
bottom
you
of
do?
the tires. Well, it depends if I'm late or not. Come on, it depends if my kid's calling me going, how come you haven't picked me up yet? Yeah, look, I'm gonna be real. There are times where it's like I'm driving like an a-hole. It's true, But living in Austin's not quite the grind of driving in New York City or Los Angeles. Yeah, God, so many things. There's distracted driving. There's so many things. Do you drive? Do you have to drive? Can you drive? Would you?
I don't have to do anything I don't want to. We do have a car.
There you go.
And
Luxury.
we take it places.
Yeah.
It's mostly to get out of the city.
Yeah.
Like if you want to leave the city, with kids, what are we gonna strap? All our things on our back. My family does live in New Jersey. Have a lot of friends there. We go upstate sometimes, literally anywhere. I think we did the math once, and renting a car is not cheap, and so it kind of becomes worth it.
But you're not it's not like it's not a commute to work. It's not the school grind. You're not
it's not like what my dad did growing up. Hour and a half both ways.
Yeah, so you're in a more it's leisurely. You're a leisure driver. leisure.
I'd say so. I'd
Yeah,
say so.
so you definitely don't need to speed.
No, and I don't. I'm a very careful driver.
Have you ever been in a car accident?
Oh, sure, but that's only because I'm a bad driver. I'm careful, but also not skilled.
I had a few dingers back in the day. Then I finally quit it, cut it out. But yeah, driving in LA was like learning to drive all over again. That's intense. It's intense. Not
Yeah,
like
that seems
the
way more intense than New York. I actually don't find New York driving to be that bad. It's just like if you can just calm yourself and go, yeah, all right, I'll get there when I get there. But
yeah,
LA seems
yeah.
frenetic.
Well, and also like being around people of college age who are like impatient and stuff like that. Like, come on, make that left turn. Yeah, just so many dingers, so many bangers. Yeah,
You gotta follow your own heart. Don't turn just because Joe in the passenger side's telling you to.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. God, it's crazy too. I just saw my friend's kid yesterday, and he was getting off the school bus, and he comes up to me, he gives me a fist bump, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Are we bros? You know what I mean? Like, you're a kid. And then I'm like, are you a sophomore in high school? He was, so good eye on me, Neil. A. B, I was like, are you like 15 and a half? You get the learner's permit? He goes, I'm 16, but I do have my learner's permit. And it just struck me that my son, who is now 2 months away from finishing 7th grade, is also, 2.5 years away from being in that same position. He will be driving, which is crazy.
Who taught you to drive? Did you take the class, or what'd you do?
Took the class. We took the class, and we had this guy who, he was like this older gentleman, and he had a brake on his side, on the passenger side, too. And there was like, we would do, part of it was like the class, like you were instructed things or whatever, and then it was like theoretical and practical, so you're like, okay, we're driving. I think there was a simulator as well, I think. Yeah, and then there was the actual, we're in the car. Terrible at parallel parking. Eventually I kind of figured it out after a lot of bumper scratching. That part I failed on the test. I mean, I dinged the cones, but I got it first try, so that's kind of says a lot, doesn't it, about our driving scenario situations here. Yeah. How did you learn to drive?
I remember one time after a bar mitzvah, my dad brought me to an empty parking lot, and I was very bad at it. But then a couple of years later, took a similar thing, had like a driver's ed, of course, for the written portion, and then some old man took me around in his beat up vehicle and taught me how to drive around our town, and I was very bad at it, and I thought that I was not going to pass, but I think what happened was like we had already paid him, and he just was kind of like, just be careful out there. And so that's probably why we're in this mess where I'm not a great driver. I probably shouldn't have passed. And
yeah, you just paid off the right person, and there you go.
That's right.
Maybe they needed Doge back then. But wait, I have a question. When you went to the bar mitzvah, or after the bar, what was that like spontaneous? I want to know what was going on, because I feel like this was a part of this felt very impromptu versus like, it's time, Neil. You know what I mean?
What happened was my dad was like, hey, I'm going to Disneyland right now, and you are not coming with me.
Was it?
I think it was. I don't think that he had some master plan. I think my grandfather had done it for him, and
after a bar mitzvah. Was it your bar? I mean, was this a special occasion or was this random?
No. Do you know how many bar and bat mitzvahs I went to? I'm from Bergen County, New Jersey, Ollie. Many. Dozens.
I'm just trying to. Yeah, but how many of them did you go driving after?
I think just one. Anyway,
And
we
you
were,
were
we were in the parking lot, I'll tell you, of Immaculate Heart Academy, Catholic girls' school. Empty. It was on a Saturday, clearly. And yeah, I was just zipping around at 13 years old. I mean, very illegal, highly illegal.
Yeah.
You know, who
Yeah.
knows? We
Crazy.
could have really went to prison for a long time. Let's take another question, huh?
Great idea. Great idea.
Peter from New Mexico is a food one for Ali Khan Eats. Yo, Ali, I love
food,
cooking
yeah.
meats, but I'm also very lazy and don't like having to prep everything the night before. What is the least amount of time I can marinate chicken or steak and still get that same bomb flavor profile of the guys who spend like 48 hours getting meat ready for the grill?
All right. Well, I'm going to shatter it. 48 hours is essentially not necessary. You know, you can get into the meat nerdy science part of it and say, oh, you know, 4 hours is like the minimum or whatever, and there are recipes that are like 30 minutes. It just kind of depends on the type of meat it is and stuff like that. But I'm going to cut to the chase, amigo. Understanding who you are, someone who's lazy, but likes meat, I recommend you bite the bullet and buy either pre-marinated meat. And now, I know that sometimes that can be kind of expensive. So, you know, you can kind of, here's a little hack I do is, I mean, depending if you're in the mood for this, but the carniceria tends to be on the more affordable side. And, you know, you can get your marinated meats there, save you a little bit of time. The other thing, too, is I feel like with all this stuff is, you know, how much of it is like prep. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I gotta get the meat out, and then the cutting board, and then I gotta mix the marinade. Like, depending on what you're trying to do, you'd be surprised. Like, get yourself a bottle of salad dressing, or maybe you find a favorite marinade. But, you know, if you're looking to, like, you know, save time, you know, I would, you know, look into some of that stuff too, or just get something pre-marinated. But, you know, if you do, worst case scenario in my world, say you do it in the morning to cook that night, you're set. You're gonna get like a good 8-ish hours probably, you know, so that shouldn't be a no-brainer. But I've definitely talked to chefs over the years who are like, yeah, I took like a chicken breast, and I don't know, you know, like I like to do it overnight myself. 48 hours, not necessary. In fact, any marinade where it has any kind of acid in it, vinegar or stuff like that, it can affect the texture. Maybe you like that, maybe you don't. Maybe you like the mushy mush. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But yeah, you know, you could experiment with some stuff, smaller cuts, minimum 4-ish hours. Go to the carniceria, find a salad dressing bottle, or maybe just find Neil's dad, and he might just take you driving for a great, you know, handy supermarket that already has pre-marinated meats. He may even let you hold the wheel, because I'm so interested. I wish I could have been there. I wish I could have been there when your dad's like, listen, we're wrapping up this party. We're going to go to this Catholic church parking lot. You're going to do donuts. There must have been... You know, I mean, did he have some Manischewitz? Was he like, let's go do this? You know, like, was he feeling loose? That's how I imagine it.
No, he was quite sober.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes it worse.
Oh, man. New Mexico. Hatch chili. Put that in your marinade. That's a big thing in New Mexico. They love... their hat chili. You ever been there, Neil? You ever been to New Mexico in all your days of traveling,
No.
making Food Network shows? No,
I've never been to New Mexico. I don't think I've been to Old Mexico either. No, have I?
Really? That's crazy.
I must have been. I don't know. I kind of don't know where I've been. I don't often know where I am either. But
you just did some traveling. Didn't you go international? Weren't you in some island?
We went to the Dominican Republic.
There you go.
Actually, did I tell you this? Did I tell you what happened? Do you want to hear a travel story?
Yeah, definitely. Let's go.
All right. We're at JFK. This is an airport in New York City. And
not the deceased president.
We're at the grave of John F. Kennedy. we're at JFK, and we were supposed to we were gonna fly into Santo Domingo and then take a car to Punta Cana because like it was like half the cost.
Yeah.
So we we got the kids. Obviously, we're not gonna leave them back. They're coming with us. It's family vacation.
Did you
And
tell them in advance, or did you spring it on them?
no, we just showed up at the airport. They were like, "Where?" I was like, Daddy is going
To work.
to Dominican Republic. Yeah. Uh, they were like, "We want to go." Yeah. So we're there, and I went to the bathroom, and while I'm out there, my wife says, "Hey, they're looking for 4 people for to go on the next flight for $1,000." I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh," she's like, "But someone's already up there." I'm like, "All right, well, whatever." Um, and then we hear them go, we need 4 volunteers. 4 volunteers. We're offering $1,500 credit per passenger.
Per
And
passenger.
per passenger. And I was like, oh,
Jesus.
okay. And now I want to give some context. You know how like when you're at the gate of an airport and you're waiting for a while, like everyone around is like a character in this like film, this experience that you're all in. And so there was this like big extended family that was also going to the Dominican Republic. And it was like people like maybe my age, a bunch of young kids, 2 sets of in-laws. And let me tell you, these people were just insufferable, So next thing I know, I see one set of in-laws up at the counter, and the mom's looking at the grandmother is saying, we'll hang back. We'll give you the money. We'll give you the money. It's fine. And something in my lizard brain just went off, and I go, oh no, you won't. And I run to the counter, and I'm like, hey, are you still looking for 4 volunteers? And she's like, yeah. And I say it's 1,500 per passenger. She's I said, it's the best you can do. And she immediately goes, I can do 2,000 per passenger. And I look at her, and she's on the other side. I go,
Yeah.
we're taking it. And she goes, when is the next flight? And I go, oh, when is the next flight?
Oh no.
It's like, what if it's like 6 hours? It happened to be, it was 2 hours later, but we were already delayed for weather. So like, we're already late. Like it's a mess. So we ended up getting there 90 minutes later, and we made $8,000 that we have to spend within 1 year on JetBlue.
Right. I
Shout
mean,
out to
but
JetBlue.
still, it's convenient, and 2 hours is. I mean, look, even at $2,000 each, you can make the argument that say you had to spend them, fly out the next day. It's still like a significant amount of money that you could chop up so many different ways. I mean, it's your money, right, on JetBlue. I mean, it's JetBlue too. I imagine
this is where traveling as a family really worked in our benefit, because you got to pay the fare for each person. Very annoying, but if you get bumped, you also get a certain amount per person. So stay tuned.
You know what's crazy?
Where we're gonna go with that.
You're
credit.
at full price. I mean, here's an appropriate dad podcast, because I think that's what this was about at some point. Did you how hard did you play the game when kids fly free when they're 2? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, let's hear. I want to hear this.
I'll tell you, we'll go anywhere, museum, movie, whatever. You look at like the age minimum where it's like free or discount, and you go, she's 5 and he's 3, and my daughter's, I'm 7. Why are you saying I'm 5? I'm 7. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
You gotta push the limits.
The big music festival here in October is the Austin City Limits Music Festival, and I'm pretty sure like it's free if you're under 10, and we had a very similar situation where we were like, because I mean the ticket's expensive, it's like $100 something or whatever, or 300. I don't know, it's crazy. And we were in the scenario where like, you could just and Heath was like, I'm 11. Just the truth won, and I just couldn't.
To the person at the gate.
Oh, I mean, we were talking about it before. We had we were trying to figure this out, like how we could,
Sure.
get our child to lie.
I mean, like, most of the time, are these people who are checking tickets going to go, hey, one second. Come here, son. He doesn't look 10 to me. He's looking 11 and a half. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's their top priority. I would hope not. I would hope
in
that
the
it's
end
more
of
like,
the day, they get their money. I'm telling you, this thing is, you don't make money in live events, but these people somehow figure it out because they asked, and it was a thing. It was definitely
Jeez.
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sorry.
It is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, it was definitely a matter of like parents versus the truth. We were on the wrong side of the truth there. That's what happens when you're holding the purse. Sometimes the truth gets complicated. Wow, 246, $8,000 you got. So the clock's ticking.
Yeah.
What are you gonna
That's
do? Go back to the DR again? Maybe
I don't
play this
know.
game again? Keep.
I was kind of hoping it would happen on the way back. And my wife's like, "What are we gonna do with $16,000?" I was like, "I'm gonna fly first class, baby. That's what we're gonna do."
Yeah. There you go.
Anyway, it didn't happen. No, I don't know. We have a year to book. I'll stay tuned. I'll keep you posted. I'll bring it up every week.
JetBlue. All right. Doesn't
right.
get everywhere, but it'll get you somewhere. It'll get you $8,000 to the TR. That's not so bad. Not so bad.
All right. Scott has a question. You know Scott from Western Kentucky, of course.
Oh, yeah. I keep getting confused with Scott from Eastern Kentucky. So
Nope, different Scott.
that distinction is incredible. Yeah.
This
All right.
Scott writes, Ollie, my 14-year-old daughter just told me she doesn't want to play soccer anymore, even though she's really good and she's been playing since she was a little kid. I think she'll regret quitting, but I also don't want to force her to do something she doesn't love. How do I balance encouraging her to stick with it versus letting her make her own choices? Thanks.
Oh, man. I've been on this side of it. No, the dreams I had of watching my son get drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals. Technically, hypothetically, just 2 years from now. Yeah, I have watched my kid, like, literally had coaches and stuff going, he's really fast. He's really good. My kid could steal. His baseball skills are just, he's a really good runner. He's fast. He's got speed. Like, he'd just steal bases. He would score runs by just stealing bases, He played catcher. Was like, oh, baseball is great. And then he was just like, yeah, I don't want to do it. I want to do something else. And he has just been a guy who's just like swapped out and done different things. And I have simply resigned to that fact. But then at the same time, I do have a friend. It's actually a good friend of Heath's who has gone deep into baseball. Okay. And like, it's consumed their lives. I mean, this kid's going to get very, very good odds of getting at least a scholarship to play for college. Like, this guy's 24/7, like all year. They have like almost no life because of baseball. And that only happens because there's a mutual interest, but it has to be mutual. Like, it's not going to work that way. Like, I feel like the era of like, and maybe it's just not anyone I really know, but sports are kind of big here in Texas, in Austin or whatever, but it's just not going to work. It's way too much commitment. If you think just because your kid has talent that you're like, oh, I'll just kind of prod them to do it, I really do believe the real commitment for your kid to get deep in it is so big that it has to come from both of you, like 110%. Otherwise, it just won't work. You're way better off, in my opinion, letting your kid find that passion on their own and then encouraging it. It seems like it's like, oh, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. But I don't know. I love baseball. I love the movie Moneyball. I think there's a great line in it in the beginning where it goes, one day we all have to stop playing the game. That's just the way it is. And I think that's really true about this stuff, certainly even as a parent too, is like, we can't really just will it to be, oh, I want my kid to do this professionally. The stake, people are in it too deep. The competition's too severe. The commitments are too competitive to just pretend that, oh, maybe it'll catch on. So I say let it roll and hope that there will be. It sounds like this kid has some athletic ability. Maybe they'll find that one sport, and it doesn't have to be one that'll pay millions of dollars, although I wish it was. That's my take on that. That's a good question. I like that. I was ready for that one.
Well, it's tough because once you quit, it's kind of over, and where is that line, right? Because there are things that we do sometimes need to push. How do you make sure that your kid's not making the decision that they're going to regret? I didn't get the sense from this guy that he's like, Serena Williams' father, just like, drilling her, but also like, it seems like she's really good at it. It's a good hobby. Like, I think, and even as a parent myself, my kids at 7 and 4, they never want to do anything. They never want to go to tennis. They never want to go to art class. They never want to go to swim. So like, if I was just like, yeah, sure, yeah, fine, we won't go, we'll quit. It's like, A, we paid for it. B, you like this, you always enjoy it afterwards, and granted they're younger. How do you make that decision where you go, hey, are you sure?
Look, I think that, it's not about saying, no to any activity, that's for sure. Like, and there are certain ages where it just adds up more than others. I think it's just, constantly exposure, like I think you're in certainly the era of exposure, right? Okay, cool. Well, you're going to do something. You're not just going to hang here. I think it was a lot easier as they get older with Heath, when I was like, well, like he was doing martial arts, and that was really great. But then, the after school commitment became bigger, and I was like, okay, this is starting to be a lot, because there's schoolwork that has to be done, there's after school commitment, and there's that. So, I was easier for me to kind of go, okay, I think we can, let this one go. But certainly, like, yeah, you're going to do something. You're not just gonna like sit there. And even, by the way, some of that stuff too is like my kid's a gamer, and we're like, do you want to take a coding class? Do you want to do video? There's like, not everything has to be like, you're playing football or baseball or else, it's. He did music too for a while as well. So,
it's like, so your kid says, hey, I'm done with soccer, I want to quit. And it's like, okay, make sure that is absolutely the decision you want to go with. We'll weigh all the pros and cons. And if so, we're picking up another activity. We're picking up another hobby, because you're not just gonna, or a part-time job or a volunteer or something, because you're not just hanging out. You're not just quitting to quit.
You're going to be going to badminton camp for 6 weeks in Savannah, Georgia. That's it. That's what happens. That's what happens when you say no to being picked up by the Oakland A's. And even though they're not a competitive team, you're still going to be in the MLB. You're going to have a lot of great opportunities. And the AL West is open for trades. And, maybe, I'm not saying the Astros are the ultimate destination, but that's a possibility. Or we will hope that you can get a college scholarship from badminton, because this camp apparently accepts JetBlue miles, and that is why we are going. Yeah,
we've got to use them within the year. So let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, badminton. Here, I think I have an old racket somewhere you can use.
I like that you're pronouncing the N, by the way. I always thought it was badminton.
I have a far more pressing pronunciation word question. Because Heath went to a bat mitzvah, but there's bar mitzvah, right? Right? Like, what's going on? Is it like...
Oh, boy. Well, this is real simple for you. Bar mitzvah is when boys become men in the Jewish religion, and bat mitzvahs are when girls become women in the Jewish religion.
Okay.
Yes. Is it insane that this happens at the age of 12 and 13? Is this perhaps something that is a thousands of year old tradition that doesn't really make sense anymore, considering our brains aren't really fully formed until we're, what, 27? Yeah. But in the eyes of religion, you're a man now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a man.
Yeah.
13, all right? Act like it.
It's good to, at least get a little psyched up a little bit.
It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. He went to a really nice bat mitzvah. I was like, it was a nice party. Oh, like the
What
whole...
was the theme? What was the theme? Was there a theme?
Yeah, there was. I mean, it was the whole package. Like the whole freaking grade was invited. It was a thing. They had a lot.
You know what, Ollie? Next time, I'm going to bring my bar mitzvah video. We're going to watch my bar mitzvah video. It's going to be great.
Now we're just, there it is. A whole other... Yeah. Hopefully you'll take that VHS and upload it on YouTube.
Yeah. We'll watch next week.
Okay. Great.
Hey, have a good week, Ollie.
Yeah. You too.
Yeah, and I think there was something maybe you want to tell Scott, and you want to tell all the dads out there. What was that?
You're a great dad. You're a number. You know what? You're dadding it well. You're dadding it well because you care enough to ask questions, and that's what matters. That's what matters. Otherwise, we'll be watching videos of Neil's bar mitzvah. I mean, exclusively. That. Yeah. I mean, there's only so many other videos.
Scott, everybody out there, you're a great dad. You're the world's greatest dad.
Yeah. You're all, I mean, I know we're kind of diluting the pool, but you are technically all the world's greatest dads. Feel good about it. We'll see you next week.